Once upon a time, long, long ago, I left my Doberman home alone, and once upon a time, it didn't really work out so well. Don't make me regret this, please. Please don't make me regret this. Exact same condition when I get back. Be a good boy. I hope this isn't a bad idea. I'm a little bit nervous. Arlo? Oh God! No, what did he do?
No!
Well, will a Doberman absolutely destroy its home if it's left alone? Well, today we're going to answer that question, plus we're going to talk about the 5 things to look for, the 5 key points that'll tell you if your Doberman is ready to be left alone. All that right here, right now on Doberman Planet. So will a Doberman destroy its home if it's left alone? Well, the short answer is it depends on a few factors. And I know I hate giving that answer, it depends, but let me explain. There are 2 main causes of what I lovingly refer to as MDD, or mass Doberman destruction. And that's when a Doberman destroys everything when they're left alone. And that is a dog that's going through the teething stages, or just a dog with general heightened anxiety. And there are plenty of owners, myself included, who have or have had Dobermans that they can leave alone all day long, unsupervised, who will absolutely not destroy a single thing. That is very doable in this breed. However, if you have a Doberman that's going through teething stages or has heightened anxiety, or worse, both, you definitely don't want to leave them home alone until those things are addressed. Ask me how I know. Go ahead, ask me how I know. Okay, since you asked, once upon a time, my Doberman Arlo was a young lad. He was going through his teething stages, and I left him home for a short time in a pretty safe enclosed pen. Now, these are incredibly smart dogs, and he uses intelligence to find his way out of that pen. Not only did he do that, but he uses intelligence to hit the door handle and unlatch the door to my office, and he went inside, bumped the door from the inside, and closed and latched himself in there. Now, he was in his teething stages, and now he was stuck in my office, which heightened his anxiety. He had 2 things working against him, and what resulted was, well, ugly and very expensive. So through this door is the set for Doberman Planet that you guys are probably used to seeing, which is my desk, which usually has a Doberman head on it. This is what happens when you leave your young Doberman home alone and you don't check to make sure all the doors are secured. Honestly, it was very lucky that Arlo didn't swallow something that was an immediate medical issue, because that certainly couldn't have happened, but he absolutely cost me a ton of money, that's for sure. So it's very important not to leave a teething Doberman puppy home alone. For one, they're very young at that age. The teething stage happens usually between 3 to 6 months of age for Doberman puppies. And during that time, the adult teeth are coming in and pushing out the baby teeth. And that causes sore gums, bleeding. Sometimes you'll find teeth out on the ground. And they'll always be looking for new textures and things to dig their teeth into to alleviate that soreness. But it's still important to leave your Doberman puppy home alone from time to time in a contained, safe area anyway, to get them desensitized slowly to your absence so that when they're an adult, they don't have serious separation anxiety issues. And I like to do this with a portable pen set up somewhere in a common area where people are commonly in and out and where your dog spends a lot of time, so they feel very comfortable. And don't forget to include water and plenty of chew options in that pen. I like to have 2 bowls of water if I can, depending on the pen size and the Doberman's age, but plenty of chew options so that they can alleviate those sore gums and really do all the chewing they want on good things that are okay for them to chew on. If you need an idea of what kind of puppy pen works really well for Dobermans, there's one that many Doberman owners use with a lot of success, and it's portable, it's easy setup. I have it listed in my new puppy shopping list. It'll be down in the description of this video and most of my videos. So yes, a Doberman left home alone during the teething stage with free roam in the house likely will destroy your house. So don't try it until all their adult teeth are in, which is usually around 6 months of age. That brings us to the next reason you might experience MDD, or mass Doberman destruction, and that is if you leave a Doberman home alone with heightened anxiety. Just like with teething, don't do it. Now, this can affect a Doberman of any age, not just puppies, anywhere through their lifespan. If they have heightened anxiety for any reason, just don't leave them alone with free roam in the house. They will likely destroy something. Now, if they experience anxiety while you're gone, they can have things like crying, whining, and barking incessantly, which could affect you and your neighbors. They could engage in destructive chewing or destructive digging, say goodbye to your garden. And they could urinate or defecate inside the house, swallow things they shouldn't, which could lead to a medical issue. They might obsessively lick themselves to the point of even causing sores. And it's just not kind for the dog anyway. Even if none of that stuff happens, it's just not mentally kind for them. Address that anxiety before you leave them alone. So why are Dobermans so prone to heightened anxiety? Well, they are a working breed of dog, so that's certainly one factor, but also rescue dogs, for example. If you have a rescue Doberman, they can definitely have heightened anxiety. And dogs that have gone through major transitions, like switching households or being given up to a shelter, for example, they may have heightened anxiety. If they've lost a loved one or they have a change in a long-standing schedule or routine, these are very routine-oriented dogs, and that provides security to them. So if that changes, that can definitely cause heightened anxiety. Even a single traumatic event, like a really loud storm or loud noises, or 4th of July, for example, with explosions going off and fireworks, that can cause heightened anxiety, ongoing anxiety afterwards. And some suspect that it even can be linked to individual dogs' genetics. So your dog might just be generally prone to having heightened anxiety over other dogs. Okay, so you want to leave your Doberman home alone from time to time without them absolutely destroying your house. How do you do that? Well, assuming they're not in the teething stage, your main goal here is to reduce anxiety, and specifically separation anxiety, when you leave. And there are a few really good ways that you can do that. One is you can give them a special treat or toy every time you leave. A lot of Doberman owners use like a puzzle toy, or even something simple like a Kong filled with peanut butter in it. And these things can really provide something for your dog to focus on. If you need ideas on great puzzle toys that work for Dobermans, I did a video all about some of the best ones. Should be popping up right there if you want some good ideas. That can help a lot with anxiety while you're gone. Also, get ready to leave 15 minutes before you actually leave the house. This softens the blow of your absence. If you put your dog in their pen or their crate or whatever area you're keeping them in, and then you slowly get ready and do some things around the house for 10 or 15 minutes, it helps calm the anxiety surrounding that event. Also, desensitize them to some of the triggers of you leaving. These dogs are really smart. They'll start to pick up that when you pick up your keys, they'll start to understand that means you're about to leave. When you put on your coat, that means you're about to leave. So if you desensitize them to some of those things by doing those things throughout the day, over and over, then they will start to not place such significance on that. Give them plenty of exercise. Huge for the Doberman breed. It'll really help keep them calm. And make sure they're well fed, because dogs in general have heightened anxiety around food and when their next meal is coming. So definitely keep their bellies full and put on some background noise, TV, radio, something like that. And that also helps. And the last thing that's very important to do, leave and return from your house casually. It's a great trick for ensuring that anxiety doesn't kick off in that critical first 10 minutes when you leave the house. If you leave very casually after you place them in, let's say 15 minutes early into their pen, and you leave very casually with a very casual goodbye, and then you return with a very casual hello, you wait a little bit, you let them out of the pen, they relax, and then you pet them and give them lots of attention, you won't place such significance on you being gone. If there's a big elaborate hello and a big elaborate goodbye, those will be like markers in your Doberman's brain, and that can trigger anxiety. Real quick, before we get to the 5 things that you can look for in your Doberman to tell you if they're ready to be left home alone, I do want to ask you to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon next to it down below. I would really appreciate it. I put a ton of work into these videos to make them as helpful as possible. I never charge. I don't have like a Patreon where I charge for certain videos or anything like that. The only thing I ask is that you are a subscriber. That would be a great way to pay it back. That's, let's call that your cover charge. Click that. Everything's paid. Let's move on. That's easy, right? Cheap and easy. I wish everything was that cheap and easy. Okay, so what are the 5 things to look for that'll tell you if your Doberman is ready to be left alone for a long period of time, unsupervised, with free roam in the house? Number 1, they're at least 10 months of age. The older they are, the better in general. The closer to the 1 year of age, the better, but I wouldn't try it below 10 months of age. Their behavior and maturity makes a difference here. Also, number 2, they've demonstrated trustworthiness. Hopefully you've been building up the amount of time that you've been away, and they've demonstrated they're trustworthy already with shorter periods of time. Also, they're through the teething stages. We talked a lot about why that's important. And they are fully potty trained. For obvious reasons, you want that. And lastly, they've shown little or no anxiety issues. If they're showing little or no anxiety and you've checked off these other things on this list, chances are they're ready to be left alone for the first time, free roam of the house. Now remember, there are plenty of very inexpensive cameras you can get. It might be a good idea to keep an eye on them remotely, and if there's an issue, step right in. I actually did a video a while back documenting when I left my Doberman Arlo home alone for the very first time and how that went, and what I returned to find when I got back home, which I'm not going to tell you now because I don't want to ruin the surprise, but you get to actually kind of spy on him while I leave him alone. Is kind of cool, and see how he did. That video should be popping up right there on your screen, so check that one out. The beginning of that video might look a little familiar, but the rest of it's really cool because you get to see how he did while I was gone. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Check out that video if you're interested, and I'll see you next time.